Hello. So today I'm talking to Mo Charge, who is, if I'm not mistaken, in the deepest, darkest Norfolk. Well, I know you are because I've been there, haven't I? It's a bit easier to do it on the Zoom, but it was a pleasure to meet you when we did come up. This when we did do it. I can't remember. It was about a year ago, wasn't it?
I think it was the beginning of the year, about
Was
February,
it?
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how's things been going? Did you get any feedback from the betting people interview with your from any of your old pals?
Yes, I did. Yes, most of them were sarcastic. Lots of Mickey taking and things like that. But no, the feedback was good. I found it an enjoyable experience, actually. It's nice to actually talk to somebody within the industry about some of your concerns as well, and particularly what's coming up now. I think we've got a bumpy old road ahead of us, particularly after next week, the 26th, with the tax on racing, etc. And it just leads me that we as a sport have got to go down a different road. I've always been an advocate of that. It's so easy to sit back and moan about all the wrong things that are in the sport. But I wasn't a follower of him or anything, but I just noticed a quick 10-minute clip on YouTube from that Basher Watts. And the crowd he had round him was so energetic. They're just back to winner. They were cheering Billy Loughnane in the winner's enclosure. And I thought, this is captivating to the younger generation. It's not like us that would give the gentle applause to the winner that comes in. And they was actually cheering the jockey. And it reminded me of an interview I saw that Nick Luck done with John Inverdale, who's something to do with Cheltenham Racecourse as well on their promotions. But he said, why do jockeys, nobody knows what jockeys look like. They should come out of the weighing room with their crash helmets off. And once again, any interviews, take the helmet off, promote them. And I started thinking back about when you used to see Leicester being interviewed, Steve Cawthon, Pat Edwards, etc. 9 times out of 10, they didn't have their crash helmet on.
Hmm.
It gave them a recognition. If you asked any horse racing follower, if you put them 10, 15 photographs of the jockeys, top jockeys that are riding at the moment, without a crash helmet on, we wouldn't be able to recognise all 15. And there's got to be something, the sport has got to promote these fellas as well as the horses. It's all very well having the ITV documentary that we did, which went well. But to those that even follow the sport, and another almost bugbear of mine, I take newcomers to racing. And since I last met you, Simon, I've taken two lots of two on two different occasions, a couple joined me and my wife, and I've taken them racing and tried to get them addicted to the sport because it's worth getting addicted to. And one of them was pointing out, and they were much younger than me. It's not hard to be, but they were much younger. And they said, where do we get the results? We was halfway through the meeting, and they said, oh, who came third in that second race? Where do you find it on a racecourse? Whereas before you had a results section. And similarly, I know I'm certainly not advocating it now, but it's just if we could press the rewind button, I would still have the jockeys boards up. Do you remember the old boards where
Yeah,
there's,
yeah, yeah.
and if it was an apprentice, they was wrote in chalk, weren't they?
Yeah,
To go
chalk
through.
jockey, yeah.
Yeah. And once again, you tell anybody at the race or ask anybody at the race courses as the horses go down to post, because programs seem to be a thing of the past now. I know you can buy them, but they're in short supply at the racetracks. But just say, oh, who's riding that now? You can just look up. And it drives the jockeys' names into the audience as well. So just these little things. Another bugbear of mine was Great British Racing, Simon. Boy, have they wasted some money and missed some great opportunities. I was at Newmarket one day and I was coming down the lift at the Rowley Mile, which is glass all the way round. And there was a calypso band playing near the parade ring and a barbecue and things like this. And there was actually a senior member of GBR Racing in the lift with me. He said, "Oh, isn't it great to see all these people here? Look at them having fun." And my reply was, "How many are looking at the horses in the parade ring?" To which there was no answer from him, and the rest of the lift journey was silent. They used to use Darren Bird. Do you remember the artist, Darren?
Yeah,
Darren?
Birdie. Yeah, I've interviewed Birdie. Yep,
Yeah, he's a great lad. I
yep.
know him very well. I've got some work done by him as well. And they dropped him. GBR Racing dropped him. Ask anybody the name of the artist that replaced him. Nobody knows.
Birdie drew that picture that will be up there when this goes out.
Really?
Yeah, when it goes out, that is done by Birdie.
Yeah, he's a great lad. Him, his father. Um, yeah, I've supported Darren for a long while. And it just amazed me. Why did they drop him? Because everybody knew him. His artwork was unique. You could even buy a board game at Christmas once that he had designed. I think it was Monopoly, but he'd done all the artwork for it, and it was all the stables in Newmarket were the places on the board. And why did they do it? He is a great promoter. Every single person knew him. Every single person recognised his artwork. Great for the sport. He's passionate about the sport as well. Him and his family really are keen horse racing followers. But once again, it was a missed opportunity. And I think it also hit the middle-aged and young. Oh, it covered all ages. And we've got to get more people at the tracks. We
Yeah.
must. How?
Well,
I don't know.
I think I put a thing on Twitter yesterday or X yesterday. I mean, racing's got everything going for it that a
Mm,
good PR company should be able to sell all day long. I mean, without
yeah.
any gimmicks. It's got
Mm,
glamour, it's got excitement, it's got the horses, it's got you can win money. It is
yeah.
everything about it is should be a gift for a PR company
Oh,
to
it
try
should.
and get people in. I don't understand why.
There are no negatives. You can park
Yeah,
relatively easy. You go to any other major sporting venue, you try and park at Wembley, Twickenham.
yeah.
Impossible.
There's a race
Or
course near everyone.
yeah, and it's there for everybody to go. And it's not really the cost. I think I took another couple to Southall since I saw you, young couple, and they'd never been racing before. Southall had a great innovation to me. You could sponsor one race of the best turned out. Cost you 50 quid, have your photograph taken. You have obviously a member of staff with you to advise you if you know nothing about horses. So I bought them this as a present. Um, and they were absolutely thrilled with it. And I said to them that the hallowed ground is the parade ring. When I first started going horse racing, I yearned to one day be in that parade ring. And it gave them a buzz. And so it got them then attached not to the horse that they selected ultimately, but to the equine itself. And it was a far different feeling, they told us, because we went back to the parade ring for some of the other races. And they both said they saw a different horse when they was in the middle of the parade ring from standing outside looking at them parade.
Mm.
And to promote the beast itself, I'm a great fan, believe it or not, of the heavy horse. I love the heavy horse, historically and everything else. And the way I phrase it is that the heavy horse is the workload, the workman of the horse industry. But when I want to go and see a ballet, I'll go and watch horse racing. They are artistic. They are superb in every aspect. But it's something of a treat to me to go to the horse racing, to see a thoroughbred unleashed, because they are artists. They are fit. The jockeys are fit. Totally different to the heavy horse scenario where they're ploughing the field or something. But yes, I have tried over the years to get across to people the delights of horse racing. Don't worry about going there drinking. Don't worry about going there having a knees up. You're there to watch the sport. And the one thing that we did struggle with was the results halfway through the meeting. Can you imagine going to any other sporting event and not knowing what the score was at any time? And you cannot. If you ask the track, they'll say, we'll go to the betting shop. You go into a betting shop and you have to wait 2 or 3 minutes for the screens to scroll round to the meeting. Right.
That's right, yeah.
Whereas before you used to have an old boy write the results up on a result board. So them simple things, it's fine for me and you, Simon, because we know you can just get your phone out, look on an app and get the result. But to newcomers, you've got to make things so simple, or that it appears so simple and everything is there for you. And maybe that's one of our failings. But as I said, I don't want to talk too negative about the game because it is a great sport. And till I'm interred, the great phrase that Prince Monolulu used to use, on the turf or under it, all men are equal. So until that day comes for me, I shall still be promoting the sport wherever I can.
Which is a good segue, because since I last saw you, I've started doing this channel because the Star Sports, the betting people stuff has become a bit rarer now.
Yeah.
So, and recently I've had a couple of people send me some fantastic old footage. First one is of Angus Hill in 1984 in the betting ring at Worcester. It's just like I went all misty eyed seeing that, remembering it like it, actually I would never have been there in 84, but since. And Barney Curley, who of course was the apex predator. I believe you knew Angus, and if you haven't seen these videos, they're on this channel. Just have a look back through.
Right, I didn't know him personally. I just got his tissue.
Right, because he was.
We as a company, they used to come over, and we used to pay for them. But he was very, very astute. I do recall that, and I had spoken to him a couple of times over the phone. Normally, if the tissues were late, but yes, they were all. I was always told, and I can't recall who told me, but these National Hunt tissues were by far the best, and he was muscled in the point-to-point scene as well. Apparently, he was a great point fan, and so any horses that would come from the point field ready to run under rules, he knew every single one of them. But as with the Barney clip, I had seen the Barney clip on this, and it really was a great, I'd recommend to anybody to go and look at it. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, what a man he was. Very deep. And in fact, my first betting shop I owned used to be owned by his nephew. I don't know if he financed it or not. It was very run down. If he did, he didn't do a good job. But there was always that air of mystique. And I had a client of mine who was close to him. And when he sadly lost his son, he drove up to Newmarket and sat with him and put solace and take prayer and things like this. But he was a legend, wasn't he? I mean, we haven't got a character like that now, have we? Over the years, once again, you think of the characters we had, You had Dorothy Paget. She only had to walk into the ring. The books were quaking. Her ally was the sister-in-law of J. Arthur Rank, who was equally a bigger punter. Them two dominated the market, basically. And as you, and I'm sure everybody else knows, also got William Hill coming. Financially. That's another story. And so, yes, Barney, we're missing a Barney now, but sadly, because of the rules and regulations, you can't promote that somebody's winning hundreds of thousands of pounds because where does the state come from? Could you imagine now somebody stood up and proudly announced that they were winning the crown jewels by plotting horses? BHA would be onto them for the plots. I mean, you get the odd one now and then, but not as not as the Barney one. And do you remember when he almost knocked it off with the Yankee?
I was there when he got 4 up, didn't he? I was at Kempton for the last one, or the last two.
Yeah.
I wrote. There's a blog still out there that I wrote about it. It had loads of
Did
views at
you?
the time. Yeah, yeah, I was actually there, and as it unfolded, I was writing it. And there was a
Right.
couple of guys that had clocked it the night before. Well,
Yeah.
they clocked it. They guessed that this could be something, and
Yeah.
they'd won about 50 grand in a
Did they?
lucky 15 or something. And they were, if you ever been to Kempton on a Wednesday night, but they
Yes.
were roaring in the
I
stand
bet they
when
were.
there's nobody else there. Barney
No.
wasn't there, obviously, but because when I was a kid, first started getting into this game,
Yeah.
I used to get work in the storehouse and I get paid my 70 quid in readies on a Friday afternoon, which we'd knock off at about lunchtime. And I would go in the bookies and I loved going in there and I was doing my wages. Always had my mum's rent money, but
Yeah.
quite often I'll be walking out there potless. But the thing that used to keep me going was seeing pictures of Barney Curley on the front page of the Sporting Life,
Yeah.
having landed another coup. And I used to think, well, even if I'm doing my money, at least somebody's socking it to them.
Yes.
And I think you need somebody like that so
You do.
everybody can aspire to be like them. If you just told that people are now, you can't
Yeah.
possibly win. Well, you can win, can't you? Because he even
Oh, you
won. He
can.
was still winning right up until the end, wasn't he?
Oh,
He
he
was
was very
still.
much so.
I mean, I was lucky enough to go and visit him in his house in 2019. And the last
Right.
thing he said to me was, Simon, somebody, because I was trying to get him to do an interview. And he
Yeah.
said, I'm not doing an interview. I've still got the voicemails from him. He said, I'm not doing an interview. He said, but you can come to my house and I'll make you a cup of tea. So I went to his house and he made me a cup of tea and we chatted for about three-quarters of an hour. And then totally abruptly he said, well, I'm a busy man. And that was my time done. But when we
Really.
left, yeah, when we left, he grabbed my arm and he said, Simon, he said, normally when somebody tries as hard as you, they get what they want in the end, which was
Really.
I was thinking he's left the door open there for me. And sadly, of
Yes.
course, I didn't never saw him again. But
Oh, that's
I had a
a
personal audience with the man. So
fantastic.
yeah, that was one of my, it's a shame we didn't get the interview. I think Nick Luck got it in the end, which I
Right.
can understand. I think
Yeah.
Barney was hoping he would get some feedback for Daffer and all that from that, a lot more exposure. But yeah, that's so I was chuffed to actually met him. Do you ever do any business? I don't suppose you did really.
No, not at all. No. The only thing I can really thank Barney for, I had a horse once called Greed is Good, and it was running at Yarmouth. And we had to be, I don't know, about twos on, something like this. And rumor went out that Barney was at it on another one of these multis. And one of the selections in the race I was in, they got smashed. Firms were shortening it up. I went out to evens. Happy days. So I helped myself to the evens and we trotted up. Happy days it was. And if it hadn't have been for the rumour of Barney, I would have probably just stood back and watched it win at twos on, but instead I played at even money. So
Excellent.
that's the nearest I got to any kind of connection to Barney, just is the power of his rumours.
Brilliant. Now, I was looking back through our Star Sports betting people interview, and you were telling me that back in the day you used to get phone calls from jockeys, and then it was
Yes,
from valets, and then it was ultimately
stalls
from
handlers.
stalls handlers. I mean, were you? I was watching. I thought there's a few questions I should have asked. Were you surprised how good and alternatively how bad some of them were at punting?
Jockeys were dreadful, absolutely dreadful. There were three jockeys I'm aware of that were lethal, absolutely lethal. And I dealt with one of them direct. The others, in the end, I would just lay them. And it was surprising. There were some names, of old, I hasten to add. And they, yes. Once again, also with trainers, to be honest with you. Some trainers, I had this silly thought when I was in the industry and I managed to pull some of these connections. I thought, well, jockeys are bound to know, and trainers most certainly would know. Once again, I dealt with one trainer for over 20 years and he never had a losing year. Never. Every other trainer I've dealt with would have had a losing year or two. or misfired greatly. There was another one which I helped, and he was very good, but he wasn't. He was very good at a plot, very good. I mean, they're all retired now, those I'm talking about. But he would. I'm trying to think of the right expression. He would put his own mother away, and so you didn't know if that was the actual trigger to pull on when he played, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Throwing you a flanker.
that's right. Was it a bluff or he was a very odd man, but he did knock it off. I must admit, it was, and unfortunately for me, I remember there was one occasion, and I had pushed a client of mine to have a horse with him. So he had half share, I think it was, of this horse. And I got word, and I had to get a little team of people out to play in all the shops. And he didn't tell the chap I pushed him, who was at the track, it was at Windsor. He told him when it was 7-2, and yet we'd got all the 14s. And that was on the shows, 14s into 7-2. And when it was 7-2, he turned to this punter of mine and said, oh, I think this is worth a bet. He got beat the shortest of short heads because a horse came up the stand side rail on its own. So from the camera view and everybody's view, we thought he had won. And the owners went running round to lead it in. And of course, thinking they'd won a few quid, we was all cheering in the betting shops. We thought we'd knocked it off. Well, unfortunately for there was an outfit in North London, and they had a group of 15, 20 betting shops. And I'm very friendly actually now with some of the sons of the people who owned it at that time. And I knew a lot of the managers in that shop, in those shops. And they were almost on my payroll. I would phone them up and just say, look, a stranger's come in and had this bet. That's all you got to phone the head office and tell them. Well, of course, we stuck all this into them at 14s, this horse. He gets beat, we're all deflated. Oh dear, my phone goes, and it's the boss of this company. He went ballistic at me. I know you're behind this. And I was trying to bluff him by saying, no, I've laid it as well. I've laid it as well. I know you haven't. He went absolutely ape at me. And I see him quite often now, and he still phones me, and we still have a chuckle about it, you know. I also, just diverting a little bit, I had a client that worked in the pop industry, and he phoned me one day, and he said, I've just been to the rehearsals of the Brit Awards. He said, and the best newcomer group is Cooler Shaker. Really? Yeah. He said, I saw him. They rehearsed it, and they hadn't done the envelope, and Cooler Shaker. So we filled everybody up with, because you could bet on it, there was good markets on it. And this particular outfit in North London, they got it all and all. And I told somebody that owed somebody, a nasty person, he owed him money. And he said, look, can I tell him to back this Cooler Shaker for tonight to clear my debt? I said, yeah. So I said, the man told me, you know. When I was in bed and I was actually asleep, it was about midnight, and this chap, I used to call him Weasel. Weasel's phoned me, like, in a terrible state. I said, what's up? He said, Cooler Shaker didn't win it. He said, and one of my putter-oners had actually gone to an auction in the afternoon and bought a lovely print of horse racing, or, you know, quite an expensive print. And latterly, when we used to have dinner parties around his house, he said, that was going to be yours, Mo. So I bought you that as a thank you for Cooler Shaker. But he said that ended up on my wall and not your wall because it got beat. And so Weasel was in a terrible state. So then the next day I phoned up this chap and I said, whatever went wrong there? Cooler Shaker didn't win it. And he was quite blasé. He thought I was having a tenner on it, like, you know. So he said, oh no, he said, for rehearsals, apparently they put different names in the envelopes. But it actually made the Racing and Football Outlook, that story. Yeah, how we all done our money on cooler shaking. Very
Bloody
sad.
hell.
Anyway, sorry, I've digressed there.
No, that's brilliant. I love stories like that.
Yeah.
Serves you right for thinking you knew. Anyway, I mean, when I was before I did the Star Sports Betting People interview with you, I was sort of asking around, and people said you were most bookmakers that take hedging money, like taking hedging money, because
Mm.
most bookmakers lose hedging, but your hedging money was super lively, wasn't it? Or is that
Yes.
wrong? It was
Yeah.
super. So you were betting that one trader that had lost in 20 years
Mm.
rather than the.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean,
And it was just a case of getting on. I know I mentioned it last time we chatted, the last leg of a Yankee, the old story of trying to get on. And if I hadn't, I remember there was one northern outfit I used to deal with, and the father left the business to the sons. He went off to Thailand to live. But I can't do his accent, but I should do a very mock. He phoned me up one day. Mo, you're dealing in live money. Your effing account is now effing closed. I said, there's no need to be like that. I said, I'm laying these horses. No, you're not. And he just went on, and it became a standing joke in the office afterwards, because obviously he shut our account. He wouldn't stop. He didn't stop for about 2 minutes. Your effing account is now effing closed. Yeah, all right. You're listening? Your account is now effing closed. You're dealing in live money. And so the boys could imitate him very well as well. And yeah. So it was a fine line to tread. I, I remember standing up at the wickets one night. So I used to stand up at wicket racing. And there was a pitch available, and I said to a mate of mine who stood up at the dogs and all that, he said, do you mind if my old boy has that pitch, I said, no, it'd be good. He said, well, keep an eye on him, won't you? Well, by the end of the night, I felt dreadfully guilty, but I tucked one into it. You know the game as well, Simon, don't you? It's the buzz of the ring, and he'd gone, I don't know, I can't recall the prices, but say he'd gone 6-4 when it should have been a 5-4, even money shot. So I just said, like, I don't know, 300-2 or something.
like Barney
Um,
said in that video, isn't it? It is a jungle.
it is. It
Or it
was.
was. It was.
All loyalties just go out the window, don't they? Once you start trading. I used to have shares in the silvering on a few courses, and we was at Nottingham one day. It's right, I'm going to start giggling. Excuse me.
Somebody else has been tucked up, haven't they? I can
No,
tell that.
this one wasn't tucked up. No, you must recall this would have been late 80s, very early 90s, 91, something like this, midweek, Wednesday afternoon at Nottingham in the silver ring. They used to have a silver ring in them days. There were 6 bookmakers, and I would guess about 8 punters. So you're scratching around, scratching around. Suddenly, this fella appears from the main ring. It was an Irishman. And he run down the line of the 6 books. It was a 10-1 shot, asking for a 2,200 with each book. So, because each book they said, no, you got a fiver. One bloke bet him a score, another bloke bet him a tenner, and he stood there and he lost it, this fella. And you used some terrible language. You're all effing no goods and using other strong language. But he went into this rage. He just walked up and down swearing at us all. And the one who only took a fiver, because he was saying, you're a so-and-so, you're a so-and-so, and you're an effing so-and-so, to the one who had only laid him a fiver. He was still ranting during the race, and the horse actually got beat as well. But we were all laughing at the time when he was going round. He'd lost it completely. Yes. Could you imagine trying to get 1,200 quid on a 10-1 shot
In a
at
silver ring.
Nottingham Silver Ring on a Wednesday afternoon? Yeah. It was And it just makes me chuckle. I chuckle now. He was all chuckling as he was going, Luffy, look.
I'm assuming that for the people that worked in your office,
Mm.
taking the bets was secondary to their own punting, the sort of info you were getting.
Yes, you have to be careful on that front because when I first started in the game and they told you that the money over the counter isn't real money, you know, £200, let's just say I was earning 30 quid for Joe Wardell, people would come in and have £100. And they told you, don't think of it as £100. It's too much money. Yeah, that's making sense. And consequently, you have to be careful because we have, as you go on, we had clients betting in four-figure sums, decent four-figure sums, and the staff were on, I don't know, in them days, 200-300 quid a week. It's easy to slip in. There's an analogy that I often tell people. At the height of my punting, when I was betting very large, if the right people were playing and I was having on, and the staff had to get it on for me. I was out shopping one day in a supermarket and I bought some cheese and then I went up to the delicatessen counter in the same store and I saw that the cheese was actually cheaper than the one I'd bought off the shelf already packed up. So I walked the whole aisle because I was going to save myself about 15 pence to put this cheese back, and the phone rang and it was the office and they said, oh, so-and-so's been on. Okay, yeah, just put me a monkey on this one. And I put that cheese back, walked back up to the delicatessen counter, and I thought, it's not the real world. You take me out of the betting environment, I'll fight to save 15p. And yet I'll just throw me a monkey on that one. So you have to try to be careful that your staff don't get sucked into that same blasé. 1 in 7 staff are betting in the old, so I knew some of the security for the bigger firms, and that's a ratio they worked on. And sadly, when I first started, the lad who worked with me, he went bent on me to fund punting. And that really did sadden me. I took him back on with a view of never punting again, and then I found out that he was punting again, and that was every parted ways. But he was betting a week's wage. Once again, back then you're looking at mid-80s. So, say I'd have a 50 on a horse. He was having a 50 on a horse, apparently. Well, that was his week's wage almost,
Hmm.
And so, yes, you do have to be careful. I mean, one of the lads started getting hooked on the bloody casino machines. The
Oh,
foot did.
blimey.
Yeah,
You'd have thought with it in an environment where you're getting such good information that you'd be
yeah,
sort of just quite selective, wouldn't you?
yeah.
Talking
I
of
mean,
which,
no,
Mo,
yeah.
what everybody that watched the previous interview is going to want to know:
Mm.
who's in front on Kev's cakes? Oh, you
And
haven't
now,
got it. Is the tough in there?
can I now? And look, what's in there is the tooth.
Oh, we can't see it, luckily.
Oh, you can't see
We
it.
can see the cup, we just can't see the tooth. You're gonna have to hold it up a
Well,
bit.
you'll hear it anyway. I'll put it back there, a little tink as it went.
Congratulations.
Well, that was last year. Unfortunately, if I have a quick look, I'm 2 points behind. Two behind him on this current campaign. But yes, I have the trophy here, Simon, and it is pride of place. Sits on top of my pipe tobacco jar. There, that's above everything there. Yeah. So the
Right.
challenge is, I was robbed actually last Saturday. Absolutely cruel. Um, my horse in the last, it won, opened up 3-1, backed into 6-4. If it had stayed 3-1, I'd have won the challenge on the week. I think Kev had got to the SP returner somehow. Yeah.
There is no
So,
SP returner anymore. They just
no,
set
that's
their own
true.
prices.
Yeah.
Those days are gone as well. Right. I
So
think that finally, Mo, I know I don't like to ask a man his edge, and I don't like to try and take his livelihood away from him. But I was intrigued last time. You said you don't look at anything apart from the trainers.
yeah.
Can you elaborate a little bit on that so that us poor mortals might be able to glean some wisdom? Because how can you possibly back winners by just looking at the trainers?
If I look at the trainers, the first thing I do then is cross out the trainers I don't think can win the race. Not the horse. They haven't got the ability. I've always smirked when they say, oh, a horse has moved from one yard to another and it's a change of scenery and it's found a stone. Complete tosh. It's because the previous trainer won a lot good. Um, and so I look at horses that can't win. So I look at trainers I don't like, and maybe it'll leave 3 trainers in the race. So then I move across to the horse and then look at the form on the horse.
Right. So it's a way of
So,
whittling down the.
yes,
Yeah.
it instantly this morning, exactly the same. I had a quick flick through trainers, trainers, trainers every time with me without any. I am, yes, I could tell you almost every trainer that has horses that I like that are running today. The rest of the field, I wouldn't have a clue.
So how
Couldn't
many
even.
trainers would you have that you have in your hand as well?
Primarily, I would say probably 5 of each code. And then, don't get me wrong, I'll look at others. New trainers I'm always interested in. So always keen to impress. Um, yes, 5 to 6. At the big meetings, it's obviously harder because you tend to be running horses in all the races that you want to play in. So then I shift across to the forms of the horses and use the speed figures. But no, trainers are is paramount to me. And it stands out. And why we still got this, we can't offend anybody at all. We can't criticize jockeys. We can't criticize trainers. You know, and if owners take horses away from a trainer, that owner is a terrible person, not the fact that he thinks that the trainer won a lot of good. You know, it's we can't expect every single trainer. The same as greyhounds. That's where I cut my teeth with greyhounds. You had good and bad trainers. I even used to race whippets myself, and I'd beat the first trainer not to have a bet on because my whippets used to sleep on the bed and get fed no end of bad stuff. You know, but so yes, trainers once again it's fierce important. So take more notice. Just look at those in form. Look at the percentage. All the figures are there for you. If you buy the Racing Post, it will show you their win ratios. I look at the trainers' tables a lot as well. So you just see how they are, what the percentages are. Look at Charlie Appleby. He hit 32% last year on the flat. I mean, that's incredible. Almost 1 in 3 horses win.
Imagine if you had those stats and your handful of trainers that you're going to keep quiet, and you
Mm,
had that bloke's bins that he used to look at the horse's eyes.
yes.
Is he still around? And if
I
not, who inherited the bins?
I don't know. I would say probably not because he is a tad older than me. I mean, hopefully he still is. Peter Filmer, his name. And I wish him well. I got him via, do you remember Ronnie Castellano?
I know the
Indian
name, but I don't
Ronnie,
know.
Indian Ronnie or Hong Kong Ronnie. He is still about, I think. He deals in a lot of Far East money. He is a character. Ron Pollard sent him skin. I met Indian Ronnie in the car park at York one day. I was working for a money finder at the time, and he had financed a pitch up there, and I had to take the money up and just make sure they weren't cheating or whatever. And he hosted, and Ronnie came over, and we got on so well. He is a great character, absolutely great character, and I hope he's still around, and I hope he's well. I haven't heard from him for maybe 15, 20 years, but he was, yeah, is one you ought to try and get an interview with if you ask around.
Well,
Yeah.
hopefully somebody after they've watched this will be in touch. It's
Yes,
amazing how many people got in touch. Well, a few people got in touch after your last one.
really.
Yeah, with me. I think I mentioned a couple of them to you.
Mm.
Anyway, so Mo, I really appreciate your time. I'm
Simon,
gonna get
mm.
no, I could listen to you all day long, but I know the attention span of people on YouTube, so we're gonna call it a day
Yes, of
here.
course,
But
yeah.
we can always do some more because I'm sure you've got enough stories to keep us going for
Uh,
several episodes.
yeah, just very quickly, I had a school reunion a couple of days ago, and these guys I hadn't seen for 50 odd years, 51, 52 years. And I felt flattered. One of them had got in touch with me and said, look, there's a group of us who would like to see you again, Mo, you know. So that's good. And so we had this meet up in Hertfordshire. Sadly, they started asking me about my industry. None of them were really punters, you know. And I have to say, I didn't stop talking. It was just all tales of, yes, tales of the industry, or my involvement in the industry, and some of the things that I could only ever tell you face to face as well, and certainly not on camera or record.
You did mention a memoir to me a while back.
Mm.
If you started,
I haven't yet, no, but I think now, during my time, Paul Haig, the reporter, he was a client of mine, and we got on very well, me and Paul. He offered to pen it for me once. Hugh Joseph, who I met recently at Newmarket, he came up from Cornwall to meet me. He used to be involved with the whole Racing Football Outlook. He mentioned it to me at the time. I should be doing something. And when I was in business, I said, no, there's no way I'm writing a book, you know. But now that I'm old and retired, yeah,
you
maybe
can.
it's, yes. I'll probably have to lock myself in the house for about 4 years so nobody can ever come to me. If I start mentioning certain names on there or certain stunts that I'd pulled. Yeah, I'd have to go in disguise somehow. I'd have to use a wheelbarrow instead of a wheelchair, you know.
I think it's okay to change names to protect the innocent
Yes,
in these things.
but I couldn't change mine though, unfortunately.
Yeah, they'll all put two and two together and realize who it was, tuck them up.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Tremendous. Okay, well, thanks a lot, Mo. I'll just do the plug here. If you've liked what you've heard, and I think anyone who likes horse racing or betting will have loved it. Please like and subscribe to the channel because it gets more people watching, and yeah, so we want people to watch it when we've done it. Thanks a lot, Mo. Keep in touch, and I look forward to the next instalment.
Pleasure. And you,
And good luck with Kevin's cakes. Keep sopping it to him.
yes, indeed. And the two.
Thanks a lot, Mo.
All the
Speak to you
best,
soon.
Simon.
Cheers.
Cheers
Bye.
now. Bye now.
Hello everyone, just a quick one. If you have enjoyed these videos and are enjoying these videos, can you please like and subscribe to my channel? Thanks very much.